Now I invite Mr. Richard Hipa, Secretary to the Government of Niue. Please, you have the floor. He is followed then by South Sudan, then the Nablus municipality, and the UN office. Please, you have the floor, sir.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, and for you, Chair, may I express thoughts and prayers to the families and those who have lost loved ones in the recent disaster in Oklahoma and also other parts of the world. Whilst disasters such as tropical cyclones does not discriminate against which country economies it strike, the social and economic impacts on our economies remains a challenge for our governments and communities with regards to our ability to recover from a disaster, not only to rebuild our lives, our villages, our infrastructure, and our countries, but what is more important is the lessons, the experience we learned from a disaster such as Tropical Cyclone Hipa, a Category 5 cyclone that struck Niue in 2005. When we deal with disasters, preparations, budget, etc., we do, as we do with the Millennium Development Goals, we are dealing with populations, lives, people. Hence, the safety of our populations remains a key challenge for our government and our communities. Building resilient and investment for a safer tomorrow. Having the necessary legislations is important, and responsible governments must have legislations. Having sound policies, regulations, operational and investment guidelines will assist how we plan our disaster risk reduction and building our resilience. Universal access policy remains an obligation for the government of Niue, and from the experience of the 2004 cyclone, the government is investing in our public infrastructure where key utilities, water, telecommunications, and power are safely placed underground and reticulated to every home. The aim to having phone and internet services to every village and household will enable our population to access information, and early warning is an essential requirement for Niue being geographically isolated. And whilst we have abundance of underground water and water reticulated to every home, a drought, unfortunately, is a threat to our agriculture and our food security. For this, Niue have installed water boreholes at various locations around the island, installed new and replaced old water reservoirs in villages. These will be used for both domestic and household and agriculture. A project to install a water tank for each home will commence in September this year. This will enable every house to collect rainwater. And in post-2004 cyclone, when we carried out a quick survey, the number one priority requirement for the people is water. We were fortunate to have water available to every home one day after the cyclone. This is due to investing in infrastructure. This year, Niue will build a new primary school. We're shifting our primary school from the coastal area into high grounds. We look out for the safety of our children. Niue's building code has been upgraded, reviewed, and now ready with assistance provided by SOPAC and SPC. Chairman, these are important DRR investment, and the government of Niue wishes to acknowledge the financial assistance received from the GEF, EU, New Zealand Aid, and AusAid in working in partnership with the government of Niue. In order to build resilience, reduce risks, protecting our population, etc., planning is essential. Niue has a 5-year national integrated strategic plan, and the pillars includes governance, financial stability, economic, environment, social, and ta'aonga. Ta'aonga is our culture and our tradition. This is very, very important. This plan was an outcome of a wide consultation with the public and private sector, NGOs and civil society, women and youth. Our national budget and our economic and development budget is aligned to this national plan. Under the cabinet-appointed National Disaster Management Council, Niue has the National Disaster Action Plan, which incorporates disaster action plans for every department in every village. And the National Council conducts annual workshop to work with the community leaders and councils on their roles at times of disaster. The Council, in association with the Niue Broadcasting Corporation, runs a cyclone preparedness program over the radio and television every day between October and April, the cyclone season. This assists and reminds all stakeholders of our responsibilities. Whilst the disaster plan initially is only for the cyclone seasons or cyclones, we're working to include earthquake, tsunamis, and droughts. We have a joint national action plan on disaster risk management or disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation. And this plan is a proactive response to reducing the risk of climate change variability and the long-term effects of climate change. This plan provides the basis for adaptation initiatives, including disaster risk responses, in a more integrated and coordinated approach. Niue will be establishing its DRM, Disaster Risk Management Office, and appointing a full-time DRM manager. Niue supports building upon current DRM partnership in the region and the establishment of effective integrated opportunities with partner organizations in the region and at the international level. The way forward. As a small island state, Niue has continued to voice our vulnerability of the impacts on climate change at international forums. As our government strive to build national resilience to the impacts of disasters, invest in DRR, we do not have the capacity and the resources required to do all that we need, recognizing that our situation as small island states is dire and imminent. The cyclones are getting more severe. Some of our countries are going undersea as seawater level rises. Our drinking waters are getting contaminated, etc. Mr. Chairman, the following recommendations must be considered in this fourth global DRR platform. 1, the access to much-needed climate change funding in order to assist with our national DRR programs and projects must be conducive to assisting but not inhibiting our efforts. 2, donor funding must be aligned to our country's national priorities. 3, governments must be committed to having the required legislations and investment in DRR for the sake of protecting our populations. 4, that we recognize that as we approach post-2015 DRR, building resilience, the situation of the world today with regards to post-2015 MDG is bleak. We do not wish the same with this one. The world must be united in our efforts to DRR, just the same as we are also committed to MDGs, for we have a responsibility to our future generations to leave them a world they need to enjoy. And that is our responsibility today. We do not have time to waste. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir.